Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Trisha and today we are filming my December 2025 TBR. We'll be using my monthly TBR grid to choose our books for this month. I can't believe that this is the last month of 2025. I don't know where the year has gone. I say that every year, but this year I really don't have any idea where the year has gone. But here we are in December, and I'm hoping to get some good books on the TBR for this month. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and then we'll talk about all of the prompts that we're going to use and how this game works and all of that good stuff. Okay, so let me show you our TBR game. Now, I made a mistake, and I'll tell you what it was in just a minute, but this is my TBR grid that I do every month, and basically it has all of these prompts, this 8x8 grid of prompts. I can shuffle them. There are more prompts than fit on this grid, um, worked into this game, so I can actually reseed the prompts and get all new prompts. And then I can shuffle them. And then what I do is I roll and the game gives me a row or column that I need to complete. And the goal is that I try to find a book that will fit every prompt in whatever row or column it gives me. Normally, you would see me do all that. And you should have seen me do all that this month, except for, well, I did all that and I wasn't recording. So, but by the time I realized that, I had chosen my books and everything. So this is actually me going backwards, but I'm going to show you the prompts that we got so that you will know when I start showing you the books that I picked. So here's what we got. If you want to see this game in more action, stay tuned for next month and I will do a better job. Um, but for now, stick with me. Here are the prompts we got this month. Also, because it is my birthday when this is coming out, I allowed myself to swamp, to swap up to two prompts. And I actually only ended up swapping one. The one I swapped was a book out of your preferred genres. And I want to read things I want to read in my birthday month. So I switched that out and I got this very first prompt, which is a book featuring siblings, which seems pretty easy. Think I could find several options for this one. So we will see what we will do. And then for the second prompt, we got a narrative nonfiction. So basically, a nonfiction book, a true book, but that is written as if it could be fiction. So kind of in story form. That's probably my favorite kind of nonfiction. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun. I know I have several books on my TBR, my main TBR list that would fit that. Okay, and then we got a book with a plant on the cover. You guys, this prompt comes up. I've been doing this game for a few months now, and I get this prompt like every other time I play this game. I don't know why. Um, so I've already done this one a few times, but I'll come up with something else. I could have swapped it, but I didn't. Um, and then we need an enemies to lovers romance. Not my favorite trope, but we'll find something. It'll work. We'll make it work. Okay, and then a rural setting. I'm sure that we can find a book set in a rural area. That'll be kind of fun to look for. So we'll look for that in a second. And then a book set in a forest. Ooh, that's kind of very similar to the rural setting. So we'll see what we get there. A book with blue on the cover. I would think that would be an easy one. And then finally, an animal companion as a key character. I like books with animal companions normally, so that should also be a fun one. So I'm gonna go grab books, and in the next clip, you will see what I have chosen for each prompt. Okay, I think I've got some books that will fit our prompts, so let's go back through them and I'll tell you what I have chosen. So our first prompt was a book with siblings, and for this one, I have gone with the middle grade Rise of the Evening Star. This is the second book in the Fablehaven series by Brandon Mole. In the first book, we meet siblings Kendra and Seth. They go to live with their grandparents for a while and they find out that their grandparents are caretakers at a refuge for magical creatures of all sorts. And in this second installment, I believe we're going to get more of that. But now the sanctuary, the refuge, is being threatened by a group of bad guys, basically known as the Evening Star. And Kendra and Seth, along with a host of new characters, are going to have to find a way to eliminate the threat to the magical creatures. So I'm looking forward to this one. It should be really good. I've been looking forward to reading it for a while. I stole this copy off my kids' bookshelf, so I don't know. It's really beat up. I don't know what they did to it, but that is again Rise of the Evening Star by Brandon Mull. And then for our next prompt, we got a narrative nonfiction. And for this one, I don't own this one in print, but I do own it on Kindle, and that is The Orchid Thief by Susan Orlean. This book is about a guy who steals the rarest kind of orchid. I think it's called a ghost orchid from a place in Florida, and of course he gets arrested for it. But the book is talks about orchid collectors in general and Florida and uh, when collecting turns into obsession, all of that good thing. It's kind of true crime, I think, mixed with information about the orchids and all kinds of stuff. And it's written by Susan Orlean, who wrote the library book, which I also really enjoyed by her. So I'm excited to try this one. It looks really good. We'll see. I don't know a whole lot about this topic, so we'll see how that goes. And then our next prompt was a book with a plant on the cover. And for that one, I do have a copy of it. I chose The Forgetting. This is by Sharon Cameron. I know Sharon Cameron for her like World War II historical novels. And I had the opportunity to meet her a couple of years ago at an author event, and she had this book there, and this predates the historical fiction that she has written recently, and this is young adult, and it's about a society in which every 12 years basically people forget everything. They forget their parents, they forget their children, they forget what they've done unless it's written down, except for so whatever is written down is what gets remembered. Except for there's one girl, Nadia, who is our main character, who doesn't forget, apparently. Everyone else forgets, she doesn't. So she knows what's truth and what's not. And then the story goes on from there. So I'm excited to read this. I've had it for I don't know, a long time and haven't gotten around to it. So again, that's The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron. And then for our next prompt, we got an enemies to lovers romance, and I might be pushing the envelope on this one because I chose what I think is going to be a romantasy. I chose it kind of because I've been wanting to read it for a while. It's a little bit edgy for me, but that's One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. And I say that because, so the premise of this book is that there's this girl named Elsbeth, and she has a monster living in her head, basically, I believe. She calls him the Nightmare, and he knows her secrets. He talks to her, she talks to him. Um, but of course, if anybody knew that she had that, she would be put to death. So, but one day she runs into a band of highwaymen, and things go on from there, spring from there, and she finds out that in order to cure this kind of curse, this infection that keeps happening to the people in her kingdom, um, she needs to help these people collect 12 providence cards, because evidently in this kingdom magic is dependent, unless you have been infected, and that's illegal magic, I think, but the magic system is dependent on these cards, and you need to collect all 12 to do something to get rid of the to find a cure for this curse or infection that people are getting. So the enemies to lovers part is, I believe that one of the highwaymen that she meets turns out to actually be one of the people who is tasked with finding people who have been infected and bring them to justice, or sentence them to death, or whatever they do with them. So this might be a stretch. I don't know. Someone on Reddit said it was enemies to lovers. I don't know if you can trust Reddit or not on that, but I'm going with it. I'm going with it. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sure about the whole like monster living in her head kind of thing. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, and then we had a rule setting, and for this, I chose The House Saphir by Marissa Meyer. This book just came out, like literally, I don't know, a month or so ago, and I have it on NetGalley, so I want to read it. It's about a girl named Mallory Fontaine and her sister. They run they cast spells for people, and they give tours of this mansion where a murder took place, the first Saphir murder. And the problem is, though, that their spells are no good. Um, Mallory does not have any magic, except that she can see ghosts, which isn't all that helpful. But she's good at getting people to believe her, and she ends up meeting this guy who is somehow related to the person who committed these Saphir murders, and he hires her to basically, I think, like get rid of the ghost in the Saphir mansion, and we go on from there. I don't know if this is a rule setting, but in the description it does say that she goes to his country manor house. So I'm thinking that it's going to be kind of isolated and out in the country, and that it might work for this. So we're going with it. We're going with it. We'll see. And then the next one is a book set in a forest, and for that one I chose At the Edge of the Orchard by Tracy Chevalier, I believe is how you pronounce her name. I could be very wrong about that. I have this one too. This story takes place over a couple of generations. In, I think we start in the 1830s with the parents who end up in Ohio, and they have to plant trees so that they can basically stake a claim to their homestead. And they get seeds from Johnny Appleseed, so that's an interesting historical thing we got going on in here. And then we skip ahead a few years. We have their son who goes out to California, and the part of this that I know is in the forest is he goes out into the redwood forests in California, and he works for a naturalist collecting seeds to send to England to sell. But then something happens that from his past, and he needs to make some choices about whether to stay, whether to go back to Ohio. So, like I said, it's a multi generational family saga. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to have some really interesting historical aspects too. So, that is At the Edge of the Orchard by Tracy Chevalier. And then for our next prompt, um, we have a book with blue on the cover. All right, so this one I'm going to show you. This is The Girl Who Saved the King of Sweden. By Jonas Jonason. I don't know a whole lot about this except that it's supposed to be funny. It has something to do. Well, let me put it down so that I can, and then I can read you the my notes here. A little bit of the synopsis. Sorry, I'm reading in Braille, so I need both hands. Um, and I'm probably gonna really butcher this character's name, but um, Nombeko Mayeki, we're going with that, is on the run from the world's most ruthless secret service with three Chinese sisters, twins who are officially one person, and an elderly potato farmer. Oh, and the fate of the King of Sweden and the world rests on her shoulders. That's all I need to know. It sounds fun. It sounds interesting. Um, I I'm excited to read that one. I know nothing about it. I don't even remember why I bought it, but we're gonna give it a go. And that was for a book with a blue cover, and I believe the background is blue. And that is The Girl Who Saved the King of Sweden by Jonas Jonason. Okay, next. We had this is our last one, I believe, and it's an animal. Wow, I can talk. An animal companion as a main character, and for this one, I am choosing to go with the Ogress and the Orphans. Again, this is one I don't need to know a lot about. It's middle grade, maybe YA, but I think middle grade. By Kelly Barnhill, who wrote The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which is one of my favorite books that I've read in the past few years. This one is about a town that is kind of like nothing good has happened there for a while. They've had floods, they've had all kinds of problems, but they have a mayor who they love because he is a dragon slayer. Uh, so he's the only good thing in their town. And then one day, a child goes missing from the forest, from the town, I mean, and the ogress gets blamed for taking the child. Except that the orphans from the local orphanage know that she did not. The animal companion part here comes in because I know that there are crows who help the ogress. They deliver gifts and things to the orphans from the orphanage, and I think that they play a pretty decent sized role in this book. I hope that's my hope. I have heard that this is really good. Like I said, I've liked other things I've read by this author, so I'm expecting it to be really good. So those are the 8 books we've chosen. We will go back over them one more time really quickly before we end our video. Okay, so just to recap what we are planning on reading this month, for our first, um, what are we in? Our first prompt. That's what it's called. We're doing a book featuring siblings, and we're going to read Rise of the Evening Star by Brandon Mole. And then for our next prompt, we got a narrative nonfiction, and we're going to read The Orchid Thief by Susan Orlean. And then next, we got a book with a plant on the cover, and we're going to do The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron. And then for prompt number 4, we got an enemies to lovers romance. We're gonna maybe push the envelope a little bit because I don't really know if it could be classified as a romance, but we're going with it. We're gonna do One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. And then for prompt number 5, we got a rule setting, and we're going to try to read The House Saphir. By the way, I have no idea why I'm saying we, like I'm more than one person. For the next prompt, we got a book set in a forest, and we're gonna do, I did it again, and I'm gonna do At the Edge of the Orchard by Tracy Chevalier. And then for prompt number 7, we got a book with a blue cover. I did it again. I'm gonna read The Girl Who Saved the King of Sweden by Jonas 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 Jonason. Let's see if I can do it this time and not say we, like I'm, multiple people. For the eighth and final prompt, I got an animal companion as a key character, and I'm gonna try The Ogress and Orphans by um, Kelly Barnhill. So those are all the books that we got for our December TBR. And that will be my December 2025 TBR. We'll see how many of those I get to. December tends to be a little bit chaotic, and I also realized that I did not put the first festive book on my list. So I will probably try to sneak a couple Christmas books in there as well. I will have a dedicated Christmas book video coming up with some Christmas book suggestions for anyone who's looking for them. And then um, at my December wrap up, if not before, we'll see if I was able to get any Christmas books on the list as well. Because I would like to read at least one or two before Christmas rolls around. But again, we'll see how that goes. All right, if you have stuck with me for this long, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and comment down below if you have read any of these books, what I should prioritize, maybe what you're reading this December. If you think there's a great Christmas book that I should check out, you could tell me that too. I really appreciate you watching. If you like this content, feel free to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Thanks so much for being here today. Have a great one. Bye bye.